welcome to the first episode of Loose Heads. I'm Dylan Wannenberg.
And I'm Keenan, aka OVO Giant.
My man, my guy. Guys, most of you have probably seen the introduction video. And you've obviously known that we are big rugby fans, big sports fanatics, and we are just here as fans for the fans.
For
That
you
is what
guys.
the show is about. So get that out of the way. Let's get it out of the way. What can you tell the fans?
Well, from my side, I started my TikTok page for that exact reason. The feeling that I had was that there was too many, politically correct rugby commentary. Everyone seems like they were auditioning for Super Sport and just
Yeah.
did what they thought
Yeah.
the public wanted to hear.
But
And
it's not a bad thing.
It's not.
It's more of like we are unfiltered, unscripted. There's no script here for us to say that we need to say this or we want to
Yeah.
say this. We have to say this. It's what we want to say.
And for sure, it's definitely to create the conversation, to create the debate and the engagement, to make rugby exciting again.
We have to. This rugby is, like you mentioned in the intro video as well. You touched on that it's a physical, emotional game.
Yeah.
But like when the people speak about after the game, they're like, we lost because we knocked on the ball too much. Say it how it is.
Yes.
Say who messed up, who did what. You know?
Exactly. And that is what rugby in South Africa is about. It's about
big
our
culture.
passion.
Mm.
And listen, let's get it straight. We're not here to just bash the players or the coaches, whatever the case may
Not
be.
at all.
We are just here to give our unfiltered opinion.
Yes.
And take the conversations that you guys are having on your WhatsApp channels and groups and on social media and to bring it into this sort of forum.
Yeah.
And talking about getting the fans involved, we are going to go through the fixtures for 2026. Our good co-host, Dylan Vandenberg, is going on a well-deserved holiday.
27th
27th.
of September I will not be here, so that is when.
It gives us a great opportunity to stand by what we are saying, which is we want you guys to be involved. So if you feel like you want to be a part of the show, a part of the conversation, let us know. And we will then look into having you or possibly more than one of you as a part of the
And
show.
I mean, it's still a long time. It's the Australian game, so it's actually a big fixture.
But for us, it's important because we want to set the tone of what the show is about, to let you know exactly how chilled, how unfiltered, how just off the cuff we are. So if you have any expectations of this being a polished, well put together production, get that out the way. This is us, unfiltered, unscripted.
Yeah, so that will be 9 matches before one of you get a lucky chance and come on the show. Or maybe 2, 3, whoever.
We'll see how it goes.
So it will go to the person who's following us on all the platforms, commenting in the comment section, getting involved.
The person that's most engaged.
Yeah.
I think that's the person we need to reward.
Definitely, and we are very much in the comments as well. We will be commenting back. This guy, he likes arguing, so he I think we should get into it.
Can I also just say before we move on, we are going to be watching the games with you guys.
Yes, big thing to say.
Yeah, so every weekend we are going to go look for the local watering hole.
Yeah.
The local get-together, fan park, watch-along, whatever the case may be, to interview you guys. And we will put those clips on the socials. This is literally about us creating a platform for you.
Yeah. So we will go to, for example, let's say a Tigers Milk or a pub or whatever, a fan park, and we'll interview a few fans before the game. After the game, we'll interview new fans as well. And just to get your predictions or
your
reactions on the match, how you felt or the match was, or what you think the match or the Springboks need to change.
Yeah.
So, like you said, involving everybody, that is what the show is about. But now that we have that out of the way,
2026, the year before the Rugby World Cup.
Massive. We're going to be there as well with you guys.
Putting it out there.
Any sponsors, take us now. before we blow up. Sign us now. But I think let's start with the prediction. So what we're going to do is we have all the fixtures of a year, from the Barbarians all the way to the last game, which is Ireland.
Yeah.
Some tough fixtures, eh?
Yes. Obviously, the biggest thing is the tour. the greatest rivalry tour between us and New Zealand. The first time that's been done in decades.
Yeah.
It's been so long. I've never experienced
and everybody knows South Africa and New Zealand is the biggest game in the world.
Definitely.
I'm sorry, England. I'm sorry, Ireland. I'm sorry, France. It's New Zealand and South Africa.
One country has won the World Cup 4 times. The other country has won it 3 times.
So we know what we're talking about.
Yeah. So this is the big one.
Oh, and I think we should give a shout out to the guy who gave us the fixtures.
Yes, my father-in-law. Let's shameless plug. LRE, Graham Clausen. Call him if you need your property sold.
It's 50 rand a sheet. So if you want to comment that,
let us know. We're not showing it out.
So let's go to the first fixture. Barbarians. Your prediction. So how it's going to work is I'm going to say who's going to win. He's going to say who's going to win and by how many points.
I just want to say before we start with that, let's look at this year as a whole.
Yeah.
Obviously, the biggest objective for this year is the greatest rivalry, but then also we need to look at the other games and where they play into us preparing for the greatest rivalry and by extension the World Cup.
Yeah.
So the first squad that Rassie announced has a lot of young players in it, and that is clearly building towards the Rugby World Cup. But you spoke about 2031 already as well.
Yeah, I feel like Rassie's choosing a lot of youngsters so that they can, get a feel for it. It's almost like a proper schooling method. I think he's going with.
100%. That's a great thing.
The next year is the World Cup. We're gonna use, I feel like, most of our senior players with a few youngsters that he's gonna plug. But I do think that he's focusing a lot on the youngsters and for the 2031 World Cup.
Yes. I also say to Dylan...
Think about it. Sorry to cut you short. Think about it. I don't think any other nation's doing it.
No, they're not.
No one else is going to be as prepared as the Springboks. And I'm telling you now that people and the other countries and the other coaches are going to start doing this because they see we doing it.
But that's been the standard, right?
Exactly.
We cough, everyone else catches a cold. So yeah, that's definitely the plan from Rassie's perspective. I said to Dylan in the week, we've had a number of pre-production meetings. I said to him, we don't want to be in the same position we were in 2023 when we put all of our focus on Andre to take us through the World Cup. Andre ended up getting injured, and then Manie had all of that pressure on him to perform in the World Cup. And I think that pressure got to him in terms of his place kicking, all of that sort of stuff. But Manie's grown. He's grown into that role. He's grown in confidence, and we're hoping that he has a massive year for us and next year as well. So the first Barbarians game, with that in mind, I believe there's a lot of things for Rassie to consider. One of the things is there's players that have gone through a strenuous season. He spoke in the week about guys that have played a lot of rugby.
Yeah.
Gaza, Damian Willemse basically carried the Stormers, took a lot of pressure. There's guys coming back from Japan, Damien Delende and Malcolm Marx. So my theory in the week was that there are some injured players and some senior players that were named in the squad for these 2 matches, but that won't necessarily play.
Yeah.
And that's where we've gone. But
because, there's 51?
51, yeah.
51 players.
And only 46 can play.
46 can play. So that means it's total of 5 players that can't make the team.
Yeah.
So we were thinking, he actually gave me the idea of it, like, what if he only is using the Malcolm Marx, the Itzebeth, the Vincent Koch, the Faf de Klerks to help the youngsters for these 2 games.
Because we know Rassie is all about culture, right? He's all about the Springbok way and attitude, and I think the older players will guide these guys into this is how we operate. It's not so much about you anymore. Remember, a lot of these players are the stars of their respective teams, franchises. But that's not how the Springboks work. You fit into the system, and yes, you can display your individual talents, but if there's a game plan, we stick to that.
Yeah.
But the Barbarians game, I think we will still blow them out. That being said, we kind of a Barbarians team if you think about it.
Yeah, I would also think so as well.
Because there's a lot of new guys coming into the structure.
Into the team, so it will be a bit tough, but I do think we'll smoke them.
We'll still blow them away.
Because Barbarians try this, I love the way the Barbarians play. Like they try, they trick plays, they do these things.
It's running rugby.
Proper running rugby. by the Barbarians.
Yeah.
And I saw in the week there's quite a few good players. There's Duan van der Merwe, there's Carl Sinclair. There's a lot of good players in the team. So
and they're playing against the world champions. They're going to give it their all.
Exactly. So I think my prediction for that match, SA by 35 points.
Yeah. I think SA by, it's tough. 25?
25?
25 points. I think it will be scrappy at first, but eventually we'll get into the flow of the game and end up putting our structures together, and that will end up opening the Barbarians up.
So before we move on, I think, guys, there will be on all our socials, we'll have posts as well with our predictions. Let's see, engage in it. Put your prediction in the comments.
Yeah.
See who gets it right every week. It's obviously going to be me, but I mean,
confident are we?
Yeah, we're gonna have the lineups predictions from every single game before the game or before Rassie announces it, and let's see who gets there the closest.
But we already said Rassie throws us off all the time, so
there will be. I didn't tell him, but there will be forfeits. There will be things that he would have to do when he loses.
The challenges.
So every episode you will see someone doing something that they're not supposed to be doing because they lost.
A straf.
Yeah.
We're going to call it a straf.
So that was my prediction for Barbarians. We didn't actually predict for the SAA game. Do you want to do the SAA game?
SAA game against Zimbabwe. Again, that for me is going to be a lot of the under 20 players. I think that's also going to be a case of figuring out this new structure and this new way of play for these guys playing together for probably the first time. So that I also think will run them away. From a physical perspective, we'll dominate that game. So I think it will also be a 30-40 point gap.
I think 50 plus because there's a lot of SA under 20 players
that
have played together. So when we tell you guys our team later, you'll see why I'm saying this.
Yeah. So 50 plus.
So I feel like when they've been playing Georgia and all those teams, I've been giving them 90.
True.
So I feel like they will beat Zimbabwe by 50 odd points. That's my prediction.
Then 2 weeks later, let's just go quick through them. So England, we definitely are going to go all out for that game. A part of my thought process for the Barbarians game is that I don't see Rassie wanting to risk any of the key players in case they get injured for this England game. Obviously, we know there's been a lot of talk about England being this revived squad and being able to do amazing things, but then they were brought back down to earth very, very quickly in the end of year game. So I really don't see that, but at the same time, I see Rassie targeting that game as one that we definitely need to win. So for England, I think we will beat them by 15 to 20 points.
I said 17 points, SA.
Yeah. Scotland.
Back on England, what do you think of Henry Pollock? Do you like him?
I don't like him because he's English and he has that attitude but at the same time I do like him because he does exactly what I do. We creating that excitement and that entertainment around rugby. So it's a bit one of those,
So why I mention him is because I love Henry Pollock. I must say, even though he's English, I like him because you haven't seen me play before. I haven't seen you play before, but I would say
you're that type of player.
I'm that type of player. I get into your head. I will chirp you. You know what I mean?
You will scrum off in a flanker's body.
Very, very aggressive. Very aggressive. Wanting to start the fights in the field, whatever. I never start the fights. I always
in them.
No, but seriously, I love the way he backs it up. That's why I like him.
That's also
He's not all talk. He backs it up. Maybe sometimes I don't back it up, but
there's a couple of guys whose faces I do not like. Henry Pollock is one of them. It's just a very annoying face, and then the other one is Tupu Vai of the All Blacks.
Oh yes.
God.
No. Okay, so I said England. You said 15. I said 17.
Yeah.
For South Africa. Okay. Yes. Scotland. What is my prediction?
Scotland for me at Loftus. I think it's going to be tough for them because they're coming off of a very grueling season, basically as the Glasgow Warriors. And then It all depends, eh? I think we'll play again our strongest team against Scotland, against Wales. I see us trying again a few new guys. At the end of the day, like we said in the beginning, this whole year is about creating depth in our squad and giving these young players exposure. So for me, it's a case of some of these games might be tight. There's some games that I think we might actually lose simply because we are wanting to give exposure to these young players on the biggest stage. So for Scotland, I again don't think we'll lose that one, but I do think it will be a bit closer. I think it will be a 10-point win for us.
I said South Africa, 12 points.
Wales. They've been on a bit of an up in the last year.
I said South Africa, 45 points. I mean, last year. we punished him like 70 odd. No.
Yeah.
So I feel like this year, why can't we do it?
And again? It's at home also in Durban. Yeah, I think you're right. That could be one of our biggest wins. So I'm going to go 40 plus points also.
40 plus points. Argentina?
That's one that I think we're going to lose. And that's the one where I feel, because we're playing away, to really give some of the youngsters an insight into, there's tough games against tough opposition in hostile crowds. We're going to play a few youngsters in that game, especially since a couple of weeks later, we're playing against the All Blacks in the first game at Ellis Park. So I think we're going to, unfortunately, lose the Argentina game.
I also said Argentina by 6. Guys, we didn't pre-play in this app. I did this on my phone. In his head. But I said Argentina by 6 points. I also think I agree with what you're saying. But it's almost like I kind of need us to lose here. I think we need to shake things up in the camp so that in 2 weeks' time, we come against New Zealand, mess them up.
Definitely.
And on that note, New Zealand, the 4 games, your prediction?
I saw 2 losses for us. One in South Africa and one in the USA.
Which one in South Africa?
I believe the last one. I think we would want to see.
We've never lost there. Eh?
Yeah, but
we've never lost in the stadium.
I'm going to go for it. And the reason why I think we're going to go hard for the first 2 games. Ellis Park, DHL Stadium, Cape Town, it's a different vibe. FNB Stadium, Soweto, I don't see that same vibe. And also, again, like I said previously, we're going to give opportunities somewhere to the younger guys to play against the All Blacks, because we're probably going to get them in the quarters or the semis or the finals in next year's World Cup.
I think we're going to win all 3 home games, and then we're going to lose the one in the USA. I think we're gonna win 3-1. If only Bafana could do that.
Let's not even go there.
Yeah. So I'd say Johannesburg we're winning, Cape Town we're winning, Soweto we're winning, and in the USA, unfortunately, we're going to have our second loss of the season.
Yeah.
The week after that, so Australia, that's where you guys come in. Yeah, you guys are gonna be here.
Yeah. In Perth, we're playing away in Perth.
I said, what did I say?
For me, that's another one of our L's this season, this year. Again, something.
Another loss.
Yeah, I don't.
So we're losing 3 games in a row. That's what you're saying. You said the last one in South Africa, USA, and in Australia. You think we're gonna lose 3 games in a row? That's a bit wild.
Again, I'm sticking to what I'm saying with regards to and I'll explain it even further. I'm sticking to what I'm saying about giving the youngsters opportunities. I don't see Rassie picking these players that he's picked outside of the Blue Bulls players, because obviously they're playing in the URC final. If he didn't have his eyes set on them, maybe playing in next year's World Cup, I don't think Rassie would do that. Also, I don't think Rassie would do that, but now that I was able to eat during the ad break, I have a different opinion. Okay, let me say this. I think we're still going to lose. No, 2.
No, you said 3. Stick to your games. Which 2 games?
The FNB Stadium one against the All Blacks and the one in America.
Okay, and Australia?
We are winning. After I process that, we are winning. And I'll tell you why. Because again, I think we're going to play not an understrength team, but we're going to give guys opportunity. And this is a lot of rugby for a team to play in a year. And that being said, the reason why I say we might get the main team back for Australia is because we will target that France and Ireland game. So we would need to give those guys game time again to get into the flow of things. Because I don't see that England game, the first two All Black games, and the French versus and the France and Ireland game. I don't see Russia wanting to lose those games.
Yeah,
or any of them, but specifically those.
I also think we'll beat Australia by 12 points. 12 points.
I think we'll beat Australia by 25 to 30 points.
I say 12 points. Italy, 23.
Italy, 15 points. 15.
France and Ireland, the two biggest games that we have to win.
I'm going to go off emotion for that. I don't know how it will go, but because I believe we will fully focus on those two games, I think we'll beat France by 8 points and Ireland by 15. I think we'll beat Ireland by 15. I think we'll beat Ireland by 15. If you look at that Leinster performance against Bordeaux, again, another team that is predominantly national players in their franchise, and then also the way the Stormers played against Leinster, which is in effect the Irish team. The French game, I think it's going to be a bit difficult.
I think it's going to be one of the most difficult games here.
Yeah, so 8 points there, but Ireland 15 points.
I say France by 3.
Yeah.
SA by 3. And SA against Ireland by 6 points. I do hear where you're coming from, but I just don't know if we're playing so much rugby that we're still going to have the gas here to pump them.
But that's exactly why, even against my better judgment, I feel like we will play not a weekend. I never like referring to any team that plays for the Springboks.
If you make a Springbok team, you're strong enough.
Exactly. Yeah. But I don't think we're going to play our regular starters in all of these games. It's too much money, too much rugby, too much risk a year before the World Cup to continuously play the Pieter-Steph du Toits, the Siya Kolisi's, like Sasha has gone through injury at the moment. So, I don't see it happening.
Okay, so that's our predictions for the Springbok fixtures before the World Cup.
You guys let us...
We have more games after this, isn't it?
Yeah. Next year we'll play games as well.
Yeah.
But you guys let us know what you think. What are the games that you think we'll definitely win? What are the games you're a bit worried about? Let us know.
And if you want one of these bad boys, $50.
Make it money already.
Okay, so now I think the next thing that we do now is we have our teams.
Yeah,
we're going to predict team predictions. I think let's do a hot take.
Yeah.
2026 or 2020 or this season's hot take, biggest hot take. I'll go first. My hot take for the season is Paul de Villiers going to be the next hooker for South Africa.
You see, it's difficult for me to act as shocked as I was when he first said this to me in the week. But the fact that he's doubling down on it now in front of all of you is crazy. Paul de Villiers said hooker. I just don't see it for him in terms of his size.
Okay, but just remember, Malcolm Marx is going soon. He's going soon. We don't have a strong hooker.
We've always struggled at hooker.
I mean Jan-Hendrik Wessels, very good.
Marco van Staden.
But I think we have to play him there. Yeah, but I think we have such a lot of good talent in the back row. So like our flanks and our eighth men, where I think we still have some life in them.
I like your thinking because
I just feel like Paul de Villiers deserves to play in the Springbok team.
100%.
So I don't think it can obviously be at flank, but I do think Rassie's going to do some changes. He's going to be almost like a Dion Fourie. So he's going to be like a flank / hooker. I think that is going to be our new bomb squad player. Unfortunately, he might be on the bench as a flank or hooker.
So you don't believe that Bongi has any way of making it back?
No, he definitely does. Bongi, I just don't think he's as good as he used to be.
Listen, Bongi was posting in the week that gym videos working out. You know, when you've been out of the team a bit and you have to post yourself in the gym. Bongi was posting. But the reason why I say I like your thinking...
But how old is Bongi now?
I think he's also 32, 33.
I think he's in his 30s. So I'm playing, remember, for 2031 World Cup.
Oh yeah. Now I need to first get this three-peat going. The All Blacks have done back-to-back, but no one has done the three-peat.
35 years old.
Yeah, but he's 36 next year. You remember Dion Fourie was 38 when he played for us at all. 37.
Maybe Bongi has another World Cup in him.
But I like your thinking because I do not believe that we have an out-and-out fetcher. Siya Kolisi doesn't play that out-and-out fetcher role for us.
More Malcolm Marx.
So
I'm saying
always like my hookers to be the fetcher and to create problems at the breakdown. Paul de Villiers at the breakdown for us, I think I can see it in the stars already. Quarterfinal against New Zealand, Australia. We're on our 5-meter line and Paul de Villiers gets that turnover.
Like a Dwayne Vermeulen style.
Yes, like I can already see it. So if that is that hooker, never know. Could be. My hot take is, wow. I'm going to say it. My hot take is that Handré Pollard, and I don't even think it is a hot take, Handré Pollard is our third choice flower. I haven't seen enough from Handré for the Blue Bulls to go ahead of Manie or Sasha. And that breaks my heart to say because I love that sort of fly off, that style of fly off, that's very sure at kicking to poles. That
and we don't have that,
good ball. Yes, definitely not. Sasha, he was good in his goal kicking when he first came into the Stormers team, but I think there's been so many things
that's gone wrong. He ended well. I think he didn't miss in the last 2 games.
He had like about an 80% average, like around there. But for me, it's heartbreaking, but I don't. Unfortunately, from his open play, I haven't seen a lot from Handré. So I think he goes to the World Cup next year. But yeah, even in these fixtures, I don't see him featuring more than Sasha or Manie.
I feel like I hear you, but I also don't hear you. Like Pollard is South Africa's like child. You know what I mean? So what they did in the last World Cup, Manie was playing all the games, and then in the final they used Pollard. Manie didn't get a single minute or second. So I feel like
for me, Pollard of 2023 is different to Pollard of 2026. I mean, the Blue Bulls played Willie Leroux at one stage, I think, over Pollard.
Yeah,
I don't know what happened. I would love to know from a player's perspective what happened there, but I used to absolutely love the way Pollard played. He's taking the ball up to the line, his strength in his carries, breaking the line, getting the passes off, and then any kick to post, there is probably a 90 to 100% chance that Pollard's going to convert. So it does hurt me to say, but that's where we're at the moment.
You guys comment what your hot takes are for the season. Springbok wise, let us know what you think about our hot takes.
Yeah.
I think it's both very good ones, so not too shabby.
Siya Kolisi, our captain in 2027 World Cup.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Just want to make sure.
Not a hot take, just something that's actually standard. Imagine he wins 3. That's wild, eh?
Yeah, let's hope.
In a row, sure.
3-peat.
Massive. Okay, diving into our next thing.
Team prediction for next week's Saturday's game, or for Saturday's game.
So like you've mentioned,
let's just be honest about this. I think a lot of the rugby enthusiasts would have struggled to put a match day 23 together. Like Dylan said earlier, the fact that Rassie selected 51 players, that already makes it very confusing. From our perspective in pre-production, we were trying to figure out or think about players that are injured or coming back from injury. I don't see Rassie risking players that have recently come back from injury. But in the week, he was very, I wouldn't say emotional, but he was very adamant that our injury crisis isn't as bad as what the media is making it out to be. So again, that makes me a bit weary of saying a player like Pieter-Steph du Toit or Malcolm Marx, who we said is ready to play, won't start in this game. But I don't see the risk versus the reward doesn't weigh out for me.
I don't know. Like my team is a bit all over the show. I don't think I'll do well this week, but the following week I'll do very well. In terms of my prediction. But I'm just gonna go with what my gut went with. We both also said in the beginning that Rassie is going to maybe rest a few players and also maybe let the youngsters play. So my team's a bit of a mixed team, and then I think the SAA team that we're also going to read to you guys is the youngsters. I think that's where they will get some game time. People will be watching them.
Definitely.
You know? Okay, so do you want to go with front row first?
Yeah.
This is for the SA versus Barbarians team.
Springboks versus Barbarians. Because then we have SAA.
Springboks versus Barbarians team. Front row, I went with. Oh, my was messed up. Okay, front row, I went with Ox.
Yeah.
And Malcolm Marx and Vincent Koch. I changed it completely. After that video I watched, I'm like, I need to change some things.
I went for Ox, I went for Andre Hugo Venter, and I went for Neethling Forshia. For me, I don't see longevity in Vincent Koch playing into next year's World Cup. I also, with Malcolm Marx, the reason why I haven't picked him is because I also feel like he's just recently come back from injury. I would never want to risk the World Player of the Year against the Barbarians. But Rassie also said, so I get why you picked him. Rassie also said he needs to find game time for these guys. So if he's not going to play his strongest side again until the first game against the All Blacks, I can see why he might want to play them against the Barbarians.
So it's a bit of tricky one for
the locks was the biggest headache.
No, big.
But I would say, before Dylan goes, I'm super happy for Ruben van Heerden.
Yeah, that guy deserves it.
We were talking about it earlier, right? Like, he played for the Barbarians against the Springboks last year. He had a very good game, by the way.
He did.
But for him to be called up now, unfortunately, Salman Marat is injured. But
unfortunately? For you?
Yeah, we said we're gonna, like, I don't think he deserves it. I'm gonna be dead honest. We said we're gonna be unfaulted. I don't think he deserved to be called up in the first place. And when you compare it, when you think Rassie had the option of playing Ruben van Heerden, or he was in his thought process because he called him up, it makes it even more wild, because Ruben van Heerden started for the Stormers throughout the year, and on top of that, he played very well for the Stormers. Ball carries, tackles, line-out wins. Brilliant.
Yeah, I think Salman had a few injuries here and there, and I think he's never been back to how he used to be playing.
Impact the player.
It definitely impacts him.
Yeah.
But like you said, Ruben van Heerden definitely deserves a show.
Yeah.
What I like about him is like his offload. He's almost like RG Snyman.
Yeah.
Like, he gives the offloads. He keeps
the ball alive.
I call him an Insta player because I always see when he posts, I follow him. It's like, he posts his highlights, even if it's just a tackle or something. He posts it like he plays for the camera, but it works. You know what I mean?
I ran into him before. What a massive human being! Huge. So the locks, we really struggled. I mean, at first, Rassie named 4 locks. So I went for Lood de Jager and Franco Moster
to start.
Yeah, to start against.
I went with Lood de Jager and Ruben van Heerden to start. It's a bit of a shout, but I feel like I had to put Mostert on the bench because he can cover flank and lock.
Got one question for you though, just based on the fact that you picked Ruben. Again, in terms of deserving to be there, I get where you're coming from. But with regards to just being called in this week and being able to call the lineouts,
no, I think he's been well in the system already, so I think you should know.
Yeah.
I feel like this is where the Springboks won't really have a big problem when it comes to choosing players. Yes, we don't have a lot of locks, but I think just, I don't know, like Lood and Franco Mostert playing together, but then what happens if you put in,
The thing for us that we spoke about in the week is that we have a lot of loose forwards that could cover at lock.
Yes.
But I don't like that. I mean, being previously a lock myself, I think it's such a specialized position. It's a different mindset. And I can only imagine at this high level, you have to think about the lineouts. You have to think about the rucks, which rucks you're going to hit. Whereas loose forward is more of a backline connector, either trying to steal, whatever the case may be. So yeah, I don't like the idea of playing a loose forward in the lock position, but we might have to. We might have to. Loose forwards.
I went with 6 Sia Kolisi, 7 Pieter-Steph du Toit, and 8 Jasper Wiese.
Nice. We have that the same. The only reason why I didn't go for Pieter-Steph du Toit, again, just coming back from injury. So I went for Vincent Chichuka there. But
over Ben Jason Dixon.
Yeah, I don't rate Ben Jason. Another player that's come back from injury that hasn't hit the heights that got him into the Springbok squad for the first time. He's made too many mistakes for the Stormers as well with ball in hand. Rassie would have seen that. Rassie is big on taking care of the ball in contact. So I don't see him. I'm going to jump ahead, but I have Ben Jason Dixon on the bench for the SAA team.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Not even starting.
Yeah.
Okay.
Let's have a conversation about Jasper Ivan Roos.
Yeah.
Why? Yeah. Because that is a hot topic.
Jasper, more of a Mr. Reliable. He plays well. He's tough, and I think that just brings the energy to the team. If we have that momentum going forward ball. Ivan Roos definitely deserves a top try scorer in the URC. I don't know why. Like maybe Rassie doesn't like him. I don't know. He obviously likes Ivan Roos, but I mean like maybe not to pick him to play or something. But there's always been this big debate. Everybody wanted Ivan Roos. He gave him a chance and didn't really perform.
So the same reason I said about Ben Jason Dixon is why I don't think Rassie would go for Ivan Roos for the Springboks. He doesn't take care of the ball in contact. And also he has a few head losses. The last game on tour that we had against Cardiff was a terrible game.
Oh yes, I remember.
So again, from a defensive perspective, Rassie won't accept that.
Yeah.
But yeah.
I then went with 9 Grant Williams, 10 Manie Libbok. Yours?
We're the same there on 10. Manie, I'm really excited to see Manie in a Springbok jersey again.
Excited. He's been doing so well overseas.
Yeah. But I do think Faf will start simply because we're gonna need to have that structure. We're gonna have to get that game plan going. And I think the best player to lay out the game plan for us or to play by the game plan that Rassie wants was, because let's not get it twisted. Rassie is going to implement a new game plan this season. Going into the World Cup. He has to evolve, he has to change. So yeah, and I think Grant is also just coming back. It would be easier for him to fall into the SAA team, not have all of that pressure, not risk injury again. But Grant definitely, we blessed that scrum off at the moment.
We are definitely. My 11, I went with Edwin van der Merwe.
Same.
12, Andre Esterhuizen.
I went Dougie.
Okay. I just thought after that comment he made in the video, he's not gonna.
Oh yes, you're right. I feel like because he's played a lot of rugby.
I feel like he's gonna rest here.
You're probably right. But I'll stick with Dougie just for the sake of diversity.
13, I went with Jesse Kriel.
Yeah.
14, Cheslin Colby, and my 15 is a bit of a shout. But I really like this player. He's played very well in the URC, and I think he deserves it, especially against the Barbarians. It's the type of rugby this guy plays. So, going on, 15.
Been very good for the Lions for a couple of seasons now.
Yeah.
So I can definitely see you picking him. For me, I went for Jesse. I thought Jesse would captain the SAA team initially in the week, but I decided against that because, again, Rassie was talking about finding game time for certain players. And if we're going to have the core group playing together, I think Rassie would rather have that core group playing together in this Barbarians game. So Jesse definitely, Dougie inside center. The reason why I went for Andre on the bench is because, again, of his versatility, being able to play in those different positions. So, yeah. The All Blacks have copied us, like we said, when Rassie coughs, the rest of the world catches a cold. So the All Blacks the Crusaders have converted Leicester Fainaku into a flanker. So again, copying us with the Andre Esterhuizen role. So let's see if that continues. My bench.
No, you're 15.
Oh, my 15. Apalele Fassi.
Fassi.
Yeah, I think Apalele must have had enough time to recover from injury. Again, like Rassie said, Damian Willemse has been playing a lot of rugby and he's been taking a lot of pressure there at the back for the Stormers. So I think Damian will be rested. He also didn't train in the week, so him and Eben didn't train.
That's exactly why I also left Damian out of both squads, by the way. Only because he's had such a lot of game time and I think they want to rest him for England. So I went with my bench, Andrew Hugo Venter, Mchuno, very, very good season for the Stormers. So he definitely deserves to even maybe 100%. Start.
Yeah.
It was between him and Ox starting, but I just thought maybe, okay, Rassie's going to start with Ox. And then I went with Zach.
Yeah.
Zach reported on the bench. Then I went with number 19, Franco Mostert. 20, the one that should be starting, Paul de Villiers. Definitely deserves it. And then I went for 21, Faf de Klerk. 22, Yakin Ahmed. And 23, Fassi.
Okay, I want to chat about, because we have a lot of this the same, and I obviously echo a lot of your sentiment with regards to the players that you have picked. But for me, I would go for Slelekani at 19. I think he will make a massive impact off the bench. Paul de Villiers, we agree on. I went for Hashim because obviously I said Faf would start. So I went for Hashim on the bench. I would love to see what he can do in the Springbok squad, playing with these other players. So yeah, definitely excited to see him play. Then I went for Vusi Moyo instead of Yakin Ahmed. Because Vusi Moyo is already playing at the senior level for the Sharks. I would hate to see Rassie throw a guy that really did well for the SA under-20s into the deep end at international level. So that's why I went for Yakin Ahmed to actually start for the SAA team against Zimbabwe.
Yeah, I just feel like this Barbarians game, Rassie is going to give, I think, someone like
unexpected
yes, like he's going to create sparks in the like social media side and the news. That Yakin is going to be part of this 23-man squad.
Yeah.
Look, we've coached him. We went to Wynberg.
Yeah.
And I feel like he's ready to take that opportunity. So I feel like someone like Yakin will grab that opportunity with both hands. And I feel like Faf covering the scrum off, Yakin can cover fly off and center. Fassi can cover fullback and wing. So that's why I went with the three of them. I was initially just going to have Faf and Yakin on the bench, but then I thought maybe it's a bit too risky. So yeah.
Let's go quickly through our SAA team.
Yeah.
Vincent Koch, JJ Carter, Bowen Venter, Ruben van Heerden, I think he's going to play for SAA just because he was such a late call-up. Riley Norton, I see starting for SAA. I'm excited to see him play at senior level. Mahashe Slelekani, I can't pick in SAA anymore because I put him on the bench for the Barbarians. So I'm going to have to find someone else there. But Ivan Ruiz, I see him playing for SAA. I think that gives him a good opportunity to, because Rassie would have spoke to him. Rassie would have said to him what he expects to see from him, and the best opportunity for him to implement that is in that SAA game. Then I went for Grant Williams, Yakin Ahmed, Yaku Williams. I'm really excited about him. I think he's one for the future. Lorenzo Julius. Jesse, I'm going to have to take out again because I put him over. Yeah. But Koen Horn, I see him playing for SAA.
Put Lucanio Am there.
Yeah, Lucanio Am, good call. Donnie Creer, Hanro, and then JJ Carter already picked. See, the hooker position is so difficult, but Ben Jason Dixon, Emmanuel Chichuka, and then Imad Khan, Damian Willemse, and Guilherme.
Okay.
So 5-3 splits on both benches.
Okay, I went with who did I go with? Oh, I went with Bowen Venter.
Bjorn.
I'm very bad at names. Bowen Venter, Like I said, this front row of mine is very tricky. I'm probably going to get it wrong. Bowen Venter with Ollie Reed on the bench. No, he's played very well. Ollie Reed deserves it as well. JJ Kotzer to start with Sipo on the bench. Neerthling for sure on the starting. And Andrew Jacobs on the bench for the front row. My captain and my lock is Riley Norton. I feel like Riley Norton deserves it as well.
Yeah.
He's not very like I don't think he's molded yet.
Yeah.
But I do think like he needs an opportunity to get there.
Mm.
I don't think he's the greatest player, to be honest with you, but I do back him a lot. So Riley Norton at 4, and then I went with Basu at the other lock. He's also had a great season. Very big player. He's a heavy player. I think he's going to do very, very well. He reminds me of a JJ van der Mesh player.
Yeah.
Then I went with Emmanuel Tsutsuka at 6. Ben Jason Dixon at 7. Evan Roos at 8. And then my subs was Maashe, Pepsi Buthelezi, and Vincent Nchuka on the bench as well.
Yeah.
Number 9 was Imad Khan, bench Hashim Peed, 10 Vusimayo, 11 Yaku, 12 Ranger Julius, 13 Lucanio 14 Siaya, and then 15 Luan Gillimore.
Yeah.
And then I went with Marcus Muller on the bench.
That SAA squad is so exciting.
Yeah.
If those guys just stay calm, they play the usual game, and they express themselves, I think it's going to be so exciting.
It's my prediction plus 50 plus.
That game is 12 o'clock on Saturday. The Barbarians game is at 3 o'clock. We will be at
Hamilton's Rugby Club for both of those games. We will be looking for people to ask you questions, give your reviews,
tell us when we were talking nonsense.
Yeah. And yeah, guys, please, it's going to be a nice long journey with us.
Yeah.
I'm very excited. There's a lot more to come.
Yes.
We're gonna have guests on the show. We're gonna
call people, call-ins, video calls. Just let us know.
Yeah. Even maybe have Rassi sit here and tell us. You have questions for him.
Yes.
Thank you guys for tuning in, and don't forget to subscribe, like, and share.
Thanks, guys. We out.
We are the loose heads.